for a while, that's been on your mind for a while, so I'm wondering if you could start by telling us why you wanted to do a film about Turner.
Well, several things, really. Apart from anything else, there hasn't been a motion picture about Turner, so I thought it's about time we made one. He is a great painter. He's one of the great painters in the world, and he's obviously the greatest of the English painters. His work invites a movie. It is cinematic, and the more I looked into it, the more I realised that. The more I looked into it. Apologies. The more I realised that Turner, as a character, as a personality, this conflicted, eccentric, passionate guy, ticked all the boxes for a potential character in a Mike Leigh film. And the tension between this guy and this sublime, epic work invited an inevitable movie.
What does that mean, a character in a Mike Leigh film?
What?
What do you mean when you say a character in a Mike Leigh film?
Assuming you will know what I mean. That's to say, a complex, vulnerable, strong, weak human being like the rest of us.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I mean.
Okay. And Tim, I'm wondering if you could talk about how you found the body language for Turner, which is very, very particular and really personal.
Well, there's a process that is of Mike's invention and the way he works, where you go for it together. He does it with all of his films and all of his actors. It's collaborative, and you build a character up from nothing to something through using various human beings as templates. And then, in this case, it was bringing the character that you were creating organically and physically in union with what you were learning about the extant material that was spoken about him. So that's what that was about, and his physicality and his earthiness and his visceralness and oddness as a man in conjunction with this beautiful, fantastic, sublime work was a very interesting thing to delve into.
Obviously, all of us can talk about immense amounts of research that we did in all kinds of ways. One of the things, we gathered that he kind of grunted and things, but we also gathered that he could be very articulate and, was well versed in classics and so forth. So all of that fed in.
Well, I suppose that I have then a general question for everyone who's on stage, which is about the question of how, not of representing the past, but of representing the presentness of the past. In other words, creating a present moment that lives, that coordinates with what we know through research, but that also comes alive on screen. Maybe you could...
Well, I guess from the acting point of view, you're not acting the past, you're just acting the moment
right.
for the character,
yes.
As with any other character, and because you've gone through the process that Tim's talked about, you feel very grounded and solid when you're working with Mike. You kind of step on to the set on your first day with a good sense of the character and how it feels to be that person, and of course you are always in the present. The period language is another thing. We all did various research. Again, I think Mike's very good has got a good ear for period language, so I personally felt in very safe hands. But for my character, Mrs. Booth, who was a woman from Kent, where the accent has changed quite a lot in that county in the last 100 years, I just did some research and found some voices of very old men recorded in the 50s from that area, from the British Library, and took it from there, really. So.
if anyone else wants to jump in. I mean, this is a general topic that I think will be...
Can I say,
Yes.
in this context, that, I mean, of course, what Marion says is it's about creating something that lives in... Sorry, my apologies. We're so impressed by what we're saying, we forget what we're saying. I feel very strongly that this is about period films
Yes.
in general. But, I mean, sometimes such films suffer from a feeling that somehow things have got to be tempered for a contemporary audience.
Yes.
That it shouldn't look too antique, or that the language should be modified so that the audience can understand it. That the actresses shouldn't wear corsets because it's not very sexy, etc., etc. Now, this results in a kind of halfway house that you neither believe in as being contemporary, and you certainly don't believe in it as being there. What we've striven to do, and I mean, it's interesting to hear Susie and Dick from this point of view, is to say, let's make everything as accurate as we can. We know perfectly well that if you jump in a time machine and went back to Turner's world, what you would experience would probably bear no resemblance to this film at all. Because obviously, this is only our notional manifestation. But we've gone as far as we can to be what we think and feel is accurate, precise, without being documentary. Because obviously it's an impressionistic film.
Yes.
I don't know whether you want to...
Yeah.